What is going on, guys? Sam here from The Cube Place, and have I got a super cool video today. This video is very near and dear to my heart because in this video we're going to be talking about this. What is this, some people might be asking? For those of you who have been in the community for a long time or have ever, looked into these types of puzzles, this is a 5x5x3 cuboid. Not mass produced. Unfortunately, that'd be super cool. You can obtain these through certain puzzle designers, but generally they're going to be pretty expensive. So if you're not really a budget puzzle collector or solver, some of these puzzles might be pretty hard to obtain, which is very unfortunate. But if you are gung-ho enough and willing to put in the effort, you can build one of these. And that's exactly what I did. Now, this puzzle in particular, I started this project about 7 years ago. This is made out of a Shengshao 5x5, an old school one. I can't even remember which version it was, probably around the 2015 era of Shengshao puzzles. So definitely made out of a pretty high quality puzzle for the time. Definitely as far as modding goes, Shengshao is probably unrivaled as far as being able to mod their puzzles because their mechanisms are just so durable, so deeply cut, that you can really cleanly cut into those puzzles without ruining the integrity of the puzzle that you're creating. So anyway, I found this in a state that I will take a picture of and I'll post on this video at my mom's house. And when I went back over there to just grab some stuff, I found it and I was like, oh my gosh, I should totally finish this. Like, why not? It's such a cool puzzle. I love cuboids. I will eventually make a video about my collection so I can kind of show you guys what kind of puzzles I have. Since I got back into cubing this year, my collection has definitely exploded with puzzles that I just wasn't previously able to obtain or that didn't exist at the time when I was cubing a lot back around 2015, 2016. But now I have the means to obtain a lot of these puzzles, or in this case make them, or I have different interests in puzzles now. Like, I love speed cubing. That's kind of the reason I got back into puzzle solving and cubing. But I like to collect puzzles, and I like to have puzzles that not a lot of people have, which there will be plenty of videos coming out soon in the next month or so with some really cool things that I have coming. Anyway, so into this puzzle. So what is a 5x5x3? So how did I do this? So basically I took a Shengshao 5x5, like I said. I glued the top two layers and the bottom two layers together. I sanded them down first, and then I filled them with epoxy sculpt. And this, again, I did all this cutting and filling like 7 years ago. There were still raised edges from the epoxy sculpt that I had put into the pieces to fill them. And so I sanded that all down as flat as I could possibly make it without destroying the core of the puzzle or the pieces themselves. And yeah, made it as flat as I could. During the sanding process, I would mix up the layers like this so I could make them as even as possible. Now, obviously, if you look really closely, it's not perfect. I am by no means a puzzle modder now, but at the time, I was really trying to get into modding, which is why I ended up starting this project back when I did. As you can see, I'm not much of a custom sticker cutter either. I think these edges and corners ended up pretty well, but these centerpieces are super oblong and super odd shaped, so it was a little bit tougher, but I think they turned out okay for what this puzzle is and what it represents to me. Because what it represents to me is really just, if you want a puzzle bad enough and you have the means to make it, it's pretty fulfilling to have a puzzle like this. It's very special to me in that respect. So yeah, so it's a 5x5x3 cuboid. It is part of a line of cuboids called floppies, which are a N by N by P, I think is the proper terminology for something like this, whereas it is a 5x5x3. So it is wider than it is tall, which is essentially what a floppy cuboid is, versus something like a 3x3x5, which is called a tower. So it would be taller than it is wide. So yeah, so this puzzle has its own set of challenges that other types of cuboids do not. It contains a parity called floppy parity, where you have only 2 edges that can be switched, which is impossible on a puzzle not like this. Hence the parity. And so you have to know the floppy cube parity algorithm, which is pretty long and drawn out, but it gets the job done. Essentially, you perform the same long algorithm 3 times with a couple setup moves in between each iteration of the parity. So that can be a little tedious, but if you're a cuboid solver, especially some of these more obscure ones, it's definitely something you will run into on certain types of cuboids. You won't get this on towers, it's not possible, but you will get it on things that are like this, like floppies and brick cuboids, as well as super or ultimate shapeshifters will have this type of parity as well. But yeah, without further ado, yeah, let's get into how this puzzle turns and kind of what it can do. So I have never lubed this thing, but it is a little tight, and the reason I had to make it so tight is because this puzzle can be a little prone to popping, and that's partially my fault because I cut into this puzzle basically as far as it can possibly go. This layer right here is essentially, outside of some of my mistakes right here where this is a little higher, but essentially down at this corner, the existing layer that existed right here prior to me cutting and sanding into it, it's essentially gone. Like, this puzzle is shaved down basically as much as it possibly can be. I tried to make this as flat as possible. And I can show you actually how far down I've cut this puzzle. So if I go like this, and I show it at this angle, you can see just how far I've cut into this puzzle. I mean, we're talking almost a centimeter deep into this puzzle's core mechanism that I have cut this puzzle, which is pretty wild when you think about it, that a puzzle is able to be cut this much and is still functional. But this puzzle is very functional, very good at turning for the most part. It can catch a little bit on some of the areas that are just a little bit more awkward. These center pieces right here kind of have a tendency to pop. I haven't had a major pop yet, but when I'm turning some layers, sometimes they'll come out of alignment. Not to the point where they fall out, but because I'm used to handling this puzzle, so I kind of know how to handle it without making it explode or anything. But yeah, so the turning is very, very nice, very smooth. I was very diligent with the sanding process to make it as smooth as possible after doing all that I did to it. So these layers are super great. Honestly, the only layers that I've had concerns with are these outer layers, and that's because of these little pieces, like these triangle pieces and these little rectangular pieces. Because they're so cut down, they can be prone to popping, like I said. This is a shape-shifting puzzle, which is really cool. That was initially why I wanted to do it, because like I said, this puzzle is not mass-produced. You can find it through a couple of designers. Generally, they're 3D printed if you go through most puzzle designers, but people like Tripoom, who are very famous in the puzzle modding community and just the cubing community in general, they'll make these by hand, and which is pretty cool. But they're a lot more professional. They look so much better than this. But yeah, super fun puzzle. I can go ahead and scramble this for you guys so you can kind of see what it looks like scrambled. And it's actually pretty messy when it's scrambled, which is cool. That's the whole point of a shape-shifting puzzle, right? It's supposed to be super scrambled looking and super crazy looking. So we just kind of mix up all these layers. Hopefully we don't get a pop or something terrible, because that's not fun when my puzzles explode. Certainly not mass-produced puzzles, but it's less fun when these puzzles explode because, I don't know, it kind of makes me feel like I didn't do a very good job, which is why I'm really kind of careful when I scramble this puzzle, because I don't want it to explode. Okay, so that's pretty scrambled up. Do a couple more here. Do a little turn right there. Oop. See right there, as you can see, that piece kind of wants to come out, so you just kind of hold it in place. I know that's kind of sketchy, but that's just the way this puzzle is. It is by no means perfect. Okay, so that looks pretty scrambled up. So now, you can kind of do this however. So how a floppy puzzle works is, or how cuboids work, shape-shifting cuboids work, is they will always shape-shift down into the lowest denomination. In this case, it is a 5 by 5 by 3, so it will bandage itself into a 3 by 3 puzzle. So you will solve it like a 3 by 3, and then you have to deal with all the floppy issues. Because this is unlike a tower cuboid. Even when you solve this like a 3 by 3, it will not be in its native cuboid shape, which does make it more challenging, in my opinion, and also leads to the floppy parity. So there you guys go. Look at that. What a mess. Super fun. So for those of you who aren't as familiar with shape-shifting cuboids, like I said, it bandages. So all these pieces right here are one layer. You can't turn anything else. So you'll turn it like this. That's one layer, middle layer, and then this layer. So 3. And it's like that on each axis. So pretty cool, pretty fun puzzle. Very, it's not extremely challenging, especially if you're used to handling cuboids, but very fun. A fun little challenge nonetheless. Very interesting. It's a cool puzzle that can teach you a lot about cuboid strategy without going super crazy and over the top. So yeah, there you guys go. This is my custom 5 by 5 by 3 cuboid puzzle that I made. Started 7 years ago, finished a couple weeks ago. Not because it took that long, but because I put it off that long. Because realistically, if you put in the time to make a puzzle like this and you knew what you were doing and you knew how to do it right, you could reasonably make this in a couple days. If you have the time and the want or the care. So there you guys go. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you guys want to see some more videos like this, feel free to smash that like button. Leave a comment if you liked this or if you have any feedback for me. I'm really trying to become as consistent as possible with this YouTube thing. And so yeah, I would like to know what you guys think. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next one.